You do not possess
It is very sad that China has continued to reject the binding arbitration.
But it's always the People's Republic of China.
China and ASEAN are committed to finalize this negotiation.
ASEAN welcomes the progress on the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea.
Peace, stability, and cooperation should define the narrative of the South China Sea moving forward.
And that's exactly what China and ASEAN countries are working toward. But one country seems out of step.
In the current extremely complex international situation, the South China Sea issue has become more and more complicated, especially after July 12, 2016, when the so-called South China Sea arbitration ruling was issued. In the name of enforcing a so-called ruling, the Philippines has begun to intensify its infringement actions in the South China Sea, and at the same time has also joined hands with extraterritorial countries to carry out a series of so-called actions in the South China Sea on the grounds of the South China Sea ruling.
Now, the Philippines claims that the so-called arbitration ruling has formed part of international law. Let's be clear, that ruling undermines rather than upholds international law.
So the essence of it is also clear. The South China Sea disputes are disputes over territorial sovereignty and maritime delimitation. In the South China Sea arbitration, the Philippines has completely bypassed the substance of these disputes and initiated unilateral arbitration, which is not recognized by international law. As we have seen over the past 9 years, the measures taken by the Philippines in reliance on this ruling have in fact further infringed on China's territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests in the South China Sea. State consent is the first step in resolving disputes. If you bypass that consent and take unilateral actions, it clearly goes against the mutual understanding between states. Secondly, negotiation and consultation are the means of dispute resolution as stipulated by the UN Charter. Thirdly, under the current rules of international law, especially the relevant provisions in the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, before maritime delimitation disputes are resolved between the parties, it is possible to reach provisional arrangements to ease tensions.
So, what truly aligns with international law? Resolving disputes peacefully through negotiation and consultation is what really matters.
In the future, the South China Sea issue will not be undermined by the illegal actions of the Philippines. On the contrary, the Philippines' series of farces in the South China Sea also highlight the significance of China's efforts to resolve disputes through peaceful negotiation and consultation. Only in this way can peace and stability in the South China Sea be better maintained.